Hello everyone, Search Doppler here. As we all know, Season 9 of MLP G5 is the last of us. And there has been announced by Hasbro that in 2021 it will be G5 the movie, the next generation. And there isn't basically no information about the movie itself. But the only the information that is announced is where Hasbro did announce that there was going to be a movie, and earlier that there's going to be a next generation, and that this movie will take part within 2 years from now. So, what else is known about the movie? Well, basically nothing, at least from now what I can understand. But I want to make a video about my thoughts and what can happen in this movie. As we all know, Generation 4 will not be part in this movie. This will be as a gap between the two generations. But first of all, we don't know for exactly if the next generation designs on the main six are the same. So even if the next generation 5, as we all know that this so far the early concept the designs of the main six, if they are officially, who knows what can happen in the movie itself. But there is a few thoughts that I have been thinking about the next generation. Will Spike be part of it? And like my friend Cody Lane, I really hope that Spike returns in Generation 5. My Little Pony would not be the same without him. I say that much. But anymore, what about the thoughts about the movie itself? Well, let's say if there's going to be there will be a movie about some of the main six next generation. But what else will happen in a movie? Well, the only information we know about is the date when they were released. But if the new main six with their new designs of the concept so has been as officially, I do wonder, will it be almost the same as in the current generation where Twilight lives in Canterlot? It depends, of course, if the same names of the cities are the same as in next generation. But if I had to guess from this, the main six are friends all along from the beginning. And then one day something will happen. Let's say if there has been peace in their kingdom for quite some time, and suddenly all the peace is disturbed with a threatened villain attacks their kingdom for some reason. What if this villain is like almost like Tirak and Grugar, also same basic there? I mean, it would be amazing for seeing a new generation and the movie itself where has been peace in the kingdom for a long time, and suddenly there's a new villain appears, but also what kind will this villain be? Could they bring back some of the old villains from like the previous generations into the next generation? As we know, Tirak, Grugar were previously in Generation 3, and they were brought back into the fourth generation. So what will they manage to perhaps bring back some other characters, some villains from Generation 1 or 2 in Generation 5? If there's going to be some, for example, in 2017 movie, they were peaceful at the beginning, where they want to celebrate the first friendship festival when Storm King arrives. And what if there's something similar that there has been peace in the kingdom for a very long time, and something to disturb that peace when this untrustable villain arrives. For maybe it could be some sort of invasion, or this villain is looking for something very powerful magic. And it could have been some a magic from some pony in the kingdom possess, or it could be some magical artifact like the alicorn amulet. But let's say assume there's going to be a big villain, a threaten the peace in the kingdom, and the main six are the only ones who can stop the villain from being, well, take over the kingdom or perhaps destroy it all. Let's say if the main six is needed, is sent away by the current ruler of the kingdom, since we don't know if it's going to be Celestia or Luna. But if the domain 6 are sent away by the current ruler to find a magical artifact, like something like the element of harmony, but something powerful, but something else, as equally powerful as the elements, but something differently, and find this magical item or items to stop the invader, or this villain, from destroying the kingdom. What if this villain has some sort of magic itself, but is looking for more powerful, perhaps looking for a very ancient magical item that is located somewhere in the kingdom, and the ruler is the only one who knows where it is, but refused to tell to the villain where it's located? What if the main six are told by the ruler before she is captured, or he captured? We don't know if there's going to be a female or a male ruler. But let's assume that the main six are told by the ruler where this ancient artifact or this powerful magical item is located. They have to go deep far in the kingdom, perhaps to some old ruins from an old castle or temple or something, where this artifact or this item is located, and the main six had to go through the very difficult tests to prove themselves to be worthy to get the item. Because if anyone would find that item and use it as powerful, they could have ended up in very in wrong hands or in wrong hooves in any case. So if this recurring case there, this is going to be a big villain that threatens the kingdom, and that the ruler knows there's only one item that can save the kingdom and bring back the peace, and telling the main six, perhaps, who knows, maybe Twilight is the ruler's personal student, as Twilight is for Celestia before. So who knows? Maybe Celestia had, or this ruler had told Twilight about this item before, perhaps during his studies in the past, and Twilight maybe had forgot about it until this ruler mentioned about to Twilight to get her friends and go to find the item and to bring it back and to stop the invader. I mean, that could have been a very like a storyline for a movie, if you had to say for myself. But this self that is, well, that is my idea for what could happen in this movie. Like, the main six are traveling some deep far in the kingdom to find this magical item, to bring it back and hope to use it against the villain, the invader, to stop it from do any more harm, and perhaps banish it for good and bring back the peace. And that the main six had to go through some tests during all the way, like in the current generation, where in episode 1 or 2, season 1, where they had to test, like showing generosity, laughter, kindness, and loyalty. And even then, what if they had to do something about similar in Generation 5 in the movie, Well, like if the main six had to do something much similar as back in season one of Generation 4. They had to prove themselves to be worthy to be using this item to stop the invader. What if some of them might doubt they would not be able to use this item? Perhaps they find it and have no idea how to use it. Perhaps Twilight hasn't been told by the ruler or a person's teacher how to use the element or this item against the villain. But if that was sort of part of this, could have been part of the storyline itself. But that is what I believe is hopefully could have been in the story as in the movie. But we don't know exactly what is going to happen at this officially, because there's still 2 years for that to happen. And after the movie itself has been released, then the first season of Generation 5 will be announced and even been aired on television. But there is just one thought though. Why would they have to wait 2 years? Because from the gap from season 4, Generation 4 into Generation 5. It could take maybe what if it could take just a year? Let's say put one team to work on the movie and put another team on the series itself. I mean, why wouldn't they have to take 2 years before the movie to start the next generation? What if this movie is going to be part where the main six is defeated some villain, and at the end is going to be marking for the next will mark as beginning of season 1 on Generation 5. And since much of this itself has been very much undecided yet, we don't know much about the movie itself or what's going to happen in the next generation. But from what I can tell from what the sources I found, it might be possible that the main six are going to do something very much big, heroic event in the movie, and after that, and that season 1 in Generation 5 will take place shortly after that. Maybe a year, or perhaps even just a few days after they saved Equestria, or at least the kingdom, because we don't know Equestria will be the same name. For example, that is can be, if that happened, that hasn't happened at least one time before. As we take back in the MLP movie from 2017 and season 9, when the main six appeared. No, sorry, season 8. We know, or was it season 8 actually, where we actually seen mentioned in the first episode on season 8, where the main thing talking about when at the cutie map, seeing some parts of the Equestria they have been to, Mount Eris in the same town where they met Capper. So they actually made some perfect mentioning about those places in the season 8 beginning of season final, the beginning. So why would that not be the same in this case of My Little Pony Generation 5 movie and the same as the next generation? What if they actually managed do something that is same base, like putting a story in the main in the movie where the main six are doing something very saving the kingdom from a very much a threatened force, an invader, or a bad guy who's returning from, I know, has been banished for a long time and somehow magic it back and tries to revenge against the ruler who has been sending away this bad guy for us a long time. And after that, the main six manage to defeat this villain once again, and sometimes the movie ends and the season 5, Generation 5 starts with season 1 when the first episode perhaps just only shortly, sometimes after the movie itself. I mean, what is the chances that could happen? What is the chances and the odds that could happen? But if you ask me, I would probably really want to hope to see this main six of the next generation fights against some sort of unstrong, perhaps a very much a strong villain. Perhaps it could have been a bad guy who has been invading the kingdom looking for something much powerful magic or perhaps a magical item that could increase his own power like Storm King did. Or it could have been a bad guy that has been banished by the current ruler of the kingdom, and that this villain swore to revenge and comes back to the kingdom after some time be banished, but all once again be banished back to forgive for oblivious. But obviously, I don't know much about this Next Generation 5 movie itself, but if they could have been like the main six or try to fight or find something to stop this new dark, perhaps this bad guy threatening the kingdom or something. But we don't know much about that. But if I had to say, my thoughts and theories are that it could have been some bad guy threatens the peace in the kingdom for something. But otherwise, it cannot be as much as mistaken from that. It cannot be ruled out as a possibility. We cannot say much about this because this might be discussed when the fandom say what can happen in season Generation 5 movie, the Next Generation movie, or what's going to happen in Next Generation 5 on the TV when it's going to be shown at the show itself. Will it be any reference to the movie like back in season Generation 4 we did? So who knows? But I do believe if this movie is going to be out in 2 years, I really hope there could be some really strong bad guy who is making a big threat to this kingdom where the main six are, and they are the only ones who can stop the villain from doing any more harm by either using something much like the elements of harmony, perhaps something much as powerful, but something differently. What if they're using, rather than elements, but using some magical artifacts, maybe perhaps some stones or perhaps some sort of an ancient artifact. Like in back in season 9, where season 9 finale, where Kozuglo using some artifacts from different kingdom, what if they're using something like that in season Generation 5 movie? But who knows? I'm gonna talk about this for very much longer, but I prefer not to. Well, I don't want to bore you all because my thoughts, my theories, I don't know how much longer they can go on it. But my thoughts about the movie itself, I strongly believe the possibility there can be some villain who would either arise to this kingdom looking for something to be more powerful, or it can be a villain that comes back for revenge against the current ruler. But who knows? Anything is possible. Anything is possible what's going to happen in the next movie. I know that might be something perhaps I'm not the only one who has a theory or at least a thought what's going to happen in the movie itself. Perhaps it can be past dozens, perhaps others possibilities what's going to happen. But I really don't know if Chrysalis, Tirek, Grugar will be back in the next generation, which I probably don't believe so. But if this Hasbro has decided to bring back some of previously villains from generation 1 to 3, that could have been something. Because we have seen only a few bad guys from the past generation in the current one. Like, Discord was never a part of that, but Grugar and Terak, they were actually part of the third generation of My Little Pony, where it has been brought back to the fourth generation, except from Grugar, Terak's brother, who first was a villain but later turns to be a good guy. But much of that we don't know much about the movie itself. But if I had to say though, my hope for this could be either this new villain arise to its kingdom, or it could have been an ancient enemy who was seeking revenge against the current ruler after being banished in some sort of battle against it. That would be an amazing storyline. Like that, it is a villain, either an ancient villain or a new villain arise to the kingdom, threatening the peace, looking for something, and the main six are the only ones who can stop it, and that they had to find something, some magical item that they had to go through. Same case as the main six in Generation 4, where they had to showing like loyalty, laughter, kindness, generosity, and honesty. If that would happen, something likely in the Generation 5 movie, that would be totally amazing. Seeing how the next generation main six fighting finding this has powerful item, the only way to stop this great new villain from threatening the kingdom. I know that much more about that can be discussed, but I am probably not the only one within in the Brony fandom who has been talking about this particular subject. Well, everyone, as always, subscribe, leave a comment, and as always, this is Switch W over and out.